Three, two, one. Okay, here we are, everybody. Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm Warren, and this is my mom, Dee, and we are two of the folks here at Silver Brush Limited. Thanks again for joining us, as you faithfully do. We have a different phone this week. For some unknown reason, Facebook Live is not working with iPhones the last 2 days. I don't know why. So apologize for the sound. We're going to do the best we can, but our microphone is not plugged into this phone. So today we are talking about Ruby Satin, one of our very most popular, our third most popular product line. It's been in the line since the 90s?
95.
95? Okay, so since 1995,
Nope.
we've had not that.
No.
I don't know why that's there. Everything else here is Ruby Satin except the one I grabbed. That's what I get. And of course, we're giving away free stuff, since it's always popular. So,
Yeah, nice.
we have two sets that we're giving away, two of our best-selling sets in Ruby Satin. This one is a long handle set, very, very popular, 4-piece long handle set. And then this one is another 4-piece set in the short handle. So you're going to talk about what that does, why short handle versus long handle, why you even designed it. Why did you design the Ruby Satin line? Let's start there.
Okay, well,
So it's 1994,
it's
1995.
1994. So what's happening at that time? Well, there was a wonderful series that was
Grab
called.
this so that people can hear you.
All right, let me try and speak a little bit louder.
Okay.
So there was a wonderful series, if you can recall, it was made out of mongoose hair, and that's a natural hair. And I went back into my archives from years ago, and I found this is an old mongoose hair. And I love this hair, and so did everybody else. But what happened was, it is on the endangered species list. This was the very good hair, so it came out of India, and they put it on the endangered species list. So we were no longer able to get this quality mongoose hair. So I know it has a wonderful absorbency and a marvelous snap, and I thought, gee, what can we make that will be, of course it won't be endangered, and we can always have it, and what's going to feel like that? You're going to have this wonderful snap and a wonderful absorbency. Well, what I came up with was Ruby Satin. Ruby Satin is 100% synthetic fiber, so you're never going to have that endangered species issue. And it's got the same snap, a lot of absorbency, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful series. So it's got a lot more spring and bounce than the Bristle-On, and it has a lot of give and take and absorbency. Remember, we use multi-diameter filaments in all of our synthetic brushes, so we have wonderful friction holding the moisture right onto the filament. So what I can do today is show you some different things that it was created for. One of the things I will also say is that it was, I designed it first in short handle. That was first for the decorative painters, and decorative painters paint on all kinds of interesting surfaces. So this is a piece of wood, but they paint a lot on wood. They also paint a lot on metal and tin, and then all kinds of other material that makes life so very interesting. So I do have a piece of wood here that will show you that it paints beautifully on. I also have a piece of watercolor paper. This is a very heavy watercolor paper that you'll see it work very, very well also. And then this is just a regular piece of paper that's a watercolor paper also. This is a little bit better quality. This is a 300-pound cold press, where this is a 140-pound cold press. But over the years, I've created a bunch of different shapes, lots and lots of different sizes. I used to say there were 48 different sizes and 15 different shapes in the short handle, but it's actually more now because we've just added the cat's tongue to this series in both short handle and long handle.
So we've already had some questions about the cat's tongue, if it's going to be out by Christmas.
We expect Christmas.
Christmas next year.
Christmas this year is only in like 3 weeks.
Yeah. So no.
I don't think so, but I think you will have it for Valentine's Day. How's that? That's pretty good. We're going to have it in short handle as well as in long handle. And again, it's got this marvelous, marvelous edge and a wonderful tip. And I love that shape, I really do. I find it very, very comfortable to paint with. And this is the long handle, that's for folks that paint at an easel.
Well, big question also is about water retention and media, water-based media, acrylic versus watercolor. Maybe you could, start with that. I know I kind of drove the beginning of the discussion with some of my questions, so
okay.
I'll let you get to the big picture.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because I want to show you what I'm using here, but then I want to show you what some other people have used it for also.
Okay.
So I'm using fluid acrylics. That's what this is. This is gouache, and I have ink, and I also have acrylics over here. These are all just acrylics. This is heavy-bodied acrylic. So I wanted you to see all the different types of paint that I'm going to be using today, but also I want you to understand that you absolutely can use it in oil painting. This is an oil painting done by Bart Lindstrom. He is a wonderful, wonderful artist. He does many, many different types of artwork. We do 2 sets for Bart, and in it, half of the sets are with ruby satin. You can see this is a painting that he did a long time ago of Secretary Colin Powell, and as well as some other distinguished figures. This is a cover of one of his sets, but you can see that there's a lot of ruby satins in his set, and this beautiful painting here is one of his. All done with oils, by the way, all done with oils. Remember, this is a synthetic fiber, so if you put it into oil paint, you have to clean it up with a solvent-based product to get the oil off, but it has to be an odorless thinner that you buy at an art supply store, not an odorless thinner that you buy in a big box store. That's very important for the preservation of the brush. We don't want the brush to curl, we don't want the brush to become mutilated, and it certainly can with some of those harsh cleaners from the big box stores.
Okay, so back to the big picture on the media then, because a
So
lot of questions about watercolor.
Well, these are all water-based paints, the ones that I showed you in this little palette here. I do have watercolors. I really don't like this for watercolors. I think it's too stiff for that, and I also think it's very, very hard on the paper. I'll be showing it to you today, but I'm going to be using it very gently. This tends to dig a little bit because it's got some real oomph to that filament itself. You're better off with an acrylic, a fluid acrylic, even gouache, but I don't think it's the best brush in the world for watercolors. We have Black Velvet, and we have Golden Natural, we have Renaissance and Silver Kalinsky for watercolors. We have lots Silver White for watercolors. I don't use it for watercolors. I think it's a bit tough for that.
And then inks would fall in the same category.
Inks are interesting. I do have ink here if you'd like me to experiment and show you this brush with ink. We can play with that together, and it will hold a lot of color. This is some ink that I bought recently, and this is watercolor paper. And see, it is holding it very nicely. But actually, if it had a little bit more of a animal blend in it, like the Golden Natural, even like the Silver White, I think it would do a better job. The major difference is that it's a bit stiff for this particular surface. We're better off with taking an acrylic paint and using it here on the wood, and that way it's going to stand up and it's going to hold its own. So let me just do this.
So let's just to review so that we're clear for everybody, because everyone's asking great questions about media. Ruby Satin's been in the line since 1995. It's a super popular brush, but there's right and then there's what's not really ideal for it. So any acrylic, Ruby Satin ideal, and oils ideal. We're really not recommending it for watercolor. We're really not recommending it for inks, and even for gouache. We're saying it's just not the ideal. We have the right tools for those other media:
right.
Black Velvet, Silver White, Golden Natural, even Silver Silk. We did have someone type in who is a big fan of Silver Silk, and she wants to know the difference between the Ruby Satin and the Silver Silk.
Silver Silk is a lot lighter. It is a lot. It feels very much like a watercolor brush, but it will do fabulously well in anything that has a tack in it, like fluid acrylic, like gouache, like anything with a bit of tack in it. It'll also do a pretty good job with watercolor. Whereas the ruby satin is better for a heavier bodied acrylic. So here I'm going to use, this is the heavy bodied acrylic. I'll put this on the same paper. This is the heavy bodied acrylic, and you can see how beautifully that holds, and it spreads it all over the surface. Whereas the ink just got absorbed into the paper, this is the beautiful ruby satin, and it'll do a very, very nice, this is heavy bodied acrylic, and you can see how nicely it really pulls that color down, and you can paint on the entire surface with that. And that's heavy bodied acrylic. This is traditional acrylic. Let me show you that, a little bit of that over there. This is an old acrylic tube I found this morning while I was playing with my paint, and this is I don't know how old.
I wonder how old.
It's a company no longer is in business. How's that one? Yeah.
We have a lot of paint around here, as you can imagine, here
Yeah.
at a brush manufacturing warehouse. So yes.
So this is on wood, and you can see this color is not holding as well as I would like it to, but the brush is doing beautifully on the wood. It's made for tough surfaces. It really is. It's holding its own. That the color isn't really covering as well as I would like it to. You could see that yourself. Let me take another brush in the Ruby Satin series, something else that's in the series, and let's get some different feel for, oh, here we go. Here's the wonderful cat's tongue that I'm in love with. This is fluid. So I'm going to continue with acrylics. And this should give you a little idea of some of the pretty little strokes that you'll be able to get with the cat's tongue. It is a very versatile brush. And I first came out with it in a pure red sable 30 years ago, because they used the cat's tongue to make feathers for wild fowl. And if you look at that, you could see it looks like a duck's back with the little feathers. Maybe I should do it in the right color. That wouldn't hurt.
A couple of folks are mentioning that Ginger Cook is a big user of the Ruby Satin line.
Ginger Cook's a great user, and she does beautiful, beautiful work. We love seeing what she does. She's very talented, and she uses our Ruby Satin, I think, almost exclusively. That's because of the durability of it. We have people that I sent brushes to back in 1995, and I know they were prototypes because they're like this one. They have no information on the handles, and people are still using it today. We're talking about 25 years ago. They're still using their Ruby Satin brushes. So, you know, it could be $1 or $2 more than the one that looks like it, but it's not ours, not our brand, from another company. But you're going to have it 10, 15, 20 years. I do not take very good care of my brushes. I'm very spoiled. I can just go in the back and get brushes, all the brushes I want. I basically kind of abuse them. Yet these guys are still ticking. They still are working after years and years and years of experimenting and playing around with them.
So a couple interesting points here. Someone just mentioned that they're in Brazil. So
Okay.
hello in Brazil.
Hi in Brazil.
We don't, you are correct, we do not have a distributor in Brazil, but Arte
Yeah.
Miranda is in Spain, and they ship to Latin America all around South America and Central America. So Arte Miranda is out of Spain, so we recommend them very highly. They're an excellent distributor, an authorized distributor of ours. And the other question was about murals and wall painting for Ruby Satin.
I would absolutely recommend this for wall painting. Remember, when you're painting walls, most of the time they're very, very abusive. They have a lot of pebbles on them. They are very, very rough surface. Very, very rough surface. That's what wears a brush down, is the rough surface. Not the paint, not really the medium, it's the surface you're painting on. So if you're painting on a brick, if you're painting on a rough surface, yes, I would use Ruby Satin. But before I did that, I would try and sand the wall down and put a primer on it. Try and put a surface on it so that you get a flat surface to paint on. That's less abusive for a brush, and it may help the paint adhere better to the surface also. A lot of times, go ahead.
No, sorry, just finish that thought. I've got a different one here.
Well, a lot of times, you know, if there is a complaint about wearing down, it's always because of the surface. The surface, you can feel it with your own hands, and you'll see that it really can wear down because it's got those pebbles on it. But I would definitely recommend this. This is just a wonderful brush.
So, all right, some more questions about
painting.
authorized silver brush distributors for Malaysia. We have Ziplee, Cziplee, Ziplee. They have retail stores and online in Malaysia. And then for the Philippines, we have Craft Carrot, and we also have Art Bar. So we have 2 in the Philippines. So good questions about where you can get silver brush. And then you are working away here. Peggy Harris actually just typed in.
Hi, Peggy.
Peggy's saying also to remember everybody that ruby satin is great for fabric painting.
Wonderful for fabric painting. Yeah, any kind of tough surface. If you're going to be using any kind of material on tough surface, this is a fantastic brush. The other thing I'm going to say is right now I'm using fluid acrylic. Now I would say that the best brush in the world for fluid acrylic is our Silver Silk, but look at the nice job it's doing on wood with ruby satin. Now wood is a very separate kind of category. Talking about Peggy Harris, she does a lot of animal painting, and lots of times she does it on different types of surfaces, and she uses ruby satin almost exclusively on those unique surfaces. So here you have some very nice background painting, and I'm using, of course, our ruby satin, which covers just beautifully. It really does. We could also use that, and I'll do some more background painting with acrylic. Heavy-bodied acrylic will hold the color very, very well, and actually this is heavy-bodied acrylic. You can see it's covering even nicer. So, and this is going to stand up. This is going to stand up forever. This really is. It's a very, very long-lasting brush, very, very durable, and it's almost, user-proof. It really is. And there we have.
Someone asking about Poland.
Yes, we actually have a distributor in Poland or Ukraine.
We have a distributor in the Ukraine who I believe will ship to Poland, and that is Kolir, Kolir. They are out of Kiev. We don't have anyone that's physically located in Poland at the moment, but I do believe you can get, if not from Kolir in the Ukraine, then Jackson's out of London, England, would ship as well to Poland. Jackson's, which I see Kira has typed into the box there. Yep, great.
So I just thought I'd show you some professional artwork that was done with ruby satin. This is an Erling Paget painting. She likes to use our dagger stripers. I'm going to show that to you here. This is a dagger striper. Notice that lovely curve. She also likes to use our angles. And she also likes to use this is our monogram liner. A monogram means a shorter length out, and this is our script liner. That's a longer length out, and that's what these strokes are here over there. Now, what we do with the long script liner is we do signatures with that. So that's done with ruby satin. As I said, this was done by Bart Lindstrom. This was done by a landscape painter by the name of William Scott Jennings, and he only uses oil color. Remember, these folks only use oil color, and he uses ruby satin in the long handle. And of course, our flats are perfect for landscape painters. They have that nice long length out, and you can make the long strokes that you need for the landscape painting. Okay.
Beautiful.
And I just threw one last one. This is a wonderful artist. She's out of Canada, I believe Toronto, if I'm not mistaken, at least Ontario. Her name is Alexandria Jennings. This is her painting. It's called Raven. And she's just a marvelous portrait painter. And you could see this is actually a self-portrait. She's very beautiful. And I just thought you'd get a kick out of that too. All done with ruby satin. She loves ruby satin. She also loves our Bristolon. All oil painting.
Got a great question. If you could only get one for acrylics, what shape would you think would be the most versatile?
Round. You would want a round. And the round is the most versatile. And let me see if I have any here. The round is the most versatile because you can do a lot with it. You can use it for stroke work. You can fill in.
What's the smallest size in the round?
Gee, I'm not sure. I think a 0 might be the smallest size in the round. It could even be that we have it in a 2-0.
Yeah.
I'm really not sure. We'd have to look that up. But a round is the most versatile. But I would also
Here, I'll
get.
put you on, and I'll grab the.
But I would
there you
also try and get something with a little bit of a broader base because you want something to be able to put background color in. But you do need to do
3-0.
3-0. Okay, so there are a lot of small sizes.
3-0, 2-0, and 0.
Okay, so you'll be able to take that and you'll be this is a size 6, which is very utilitarian. Size 8 is even more utilitarian, and you'll make the decision whether or not one is better for you. But the round is usually the most universal, and it just is. Most people love to use this. Now, this is another acrylic color. I'm doing
Is
all
that a
kinds.
tube?
This is tube acrylics. Yes, this is tube acrylics. Notice the round. I'm getting some very, very sharp detail, which you'll be able to do with a round as well. I think round, it's just as versatile as it can be, but you'll decide what you want to do. I think the great thing to do with something like the ruby satin or black velvet or golden natural or ultra mini or anything else that you want from our line is get an idea of what the different sizes are and the different shapes in each one of the series. Then keep a list for yourself, and when you can afford one more brush, you can cross off the one that you really want to get, and then next time that you can do it, get one more brush. There's no one saying that you have to get everything all at once. We don't expect anybody to be able to afford that. But get to know the brush line really well. Get a good feeling for it. Go on our website. We have lots of great photographs on our website that's going to show you these brushes. That we have them in full size, and you can blow them up and see the tips really, really well. We even have Jenny Granberry is a marvelous artist, and she's done a lot of brush strokes for us. So every brush has a little video attached to it. Go on our website, look under Ruby Satin, and look for the brush stroke that you're interested in. She's a wonderful artist, and a lot of the samples she's showing has paintings of what she herself is working on. So I think it would really be a wonderful thing for you. Go ahead. Did you have another question?
I did, but then more questions popped in here, so now I've lost them. Purpose of the different line, we talked about that. Round brush. Don't worry, we'll get some more.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you were talking about them going to our website. So the website is silverbrush.com.
Right.
And again, I put here for everyone to see the Silver Brush Care tips, or just Silver Brush Care, so that you can see the tips and tricks. But if you just do silverbrush.com, you'll get access to see all of the different brushes and what they do and the different isolated shots of each specific brush. It's more fun to see it live, though, here in action, for sure, for everybody.
So
Did you want to clean a brush? Because we had some questions about that, too.
Okay, so what I wanted to do was show a couple of more brush strokes,
Sure.
and then I should try cleaning them because I don't clean them nearly as well as probably you do. So this is a little bit of fluid acrylic. I'm going to put on this. This is a really nice brush. Let me get a little bit of paint off of here. This is a grass comb. This is called a filbert grass comb. And notice it's rounded on the sides over here and over here. That's what the filbert is. Okay, so here you have a grass comb. Some people call it a whisper or a whisk. Somebody called it a rake, but we call it the grass comb. And you get that little grass edging that people love so much. And so, of course, Santa's beards and hair and all of that, but also grasses and anything that's landscape.
So this is actually one of the best-selling shapes in the line. You know, I know what I wanted to say before. So one of the things about ruby satin, and you touched on it earlier, is that when properly cared for, the brush will last decades. It really will last
Yeah.
10, 20 years
It
each
really
one.
will.
So when we start talking about all the different shapes, and the expense, because it can add up certainly, the fact that you're investing in a quality brush means that later on you can buy other shapes confidently because you don't have to keep replacing the same round or the same angle over and over again. So that's that's one of the benefits. That's why we can have such broad lines with so many different shapes, because of the quality. It's going to last a long time provided that you guys care for it. And I see there's a discussion here about live events. We were asked if we could come to more live trade shows when they come back, obviously. And right now on the schedule in September is the Florida Watercolor Society. So provided that the show takes place, we will be there.
2021. Well, it looks like we're going to get vaccines, and I'm certainly going to get one, and we're just going to hope for the very best.
We'll be at the events when they come back, that's for sure.
We're going to hope for the very, very best. This is a little filbert brush. I have these in multiple sizes.
So what medium is this paint right now?
Again, this is acrylic.
Great.
I love ruby satin for acrylics. I think it's the best, but I do know that people adore it for oil color.
Peggy Harris is chiming in just lightly with the grass comb, just lightly. Don't squish it.
Right. Well, Peggy, I hope I passed over there.
We have a question if there are any conventions in Asia. We'll have to see.
There's one coming in September. In June, I think. There's going to be one in Asia.
But, I don't know if we're going to that, but we'll have to see.
Well, we have people that will be there for us. So.
Okay.
Okay, so this is fluid acrylic, which is a bit trickier.
Okay, so this
And
is the
that's one of the things I love about.
See the F, everyone. That's that's our code.
That's my cheat. So you can see this is fluid acrylic. It covers.
That's a dagger.
This is a dagger striper, and you get some of those beautiful curves over there. And I believe that Erlene used the daggers for these over here. If not, I'm making it up, and she probably used a different shape. But I know she used ruby satin on this because it's a canvas, and this works beautifully on canvas. Okay, now here's some other.
Now you've got a triangle here, right? You're gonna play with.
I do have a triangle.
Okay. So we'll get to the triangle because that's the most popular.
I will try the triangle. I have to tell you, I'm not proficient at the triangle, but this is from the last time. Those were the colored pencils. So if you go online, and you're going to see an awful lot of people that have a great deal of talent making beautiful, beautiful flowers with the triangle brush. This triangle brush has become so very popular that we've actually put it into the line in our Bristle-On series and in the Silver Silk, because it's such a durable little brush. You'll be able to use it for, again for the red. You'll be able to use it in. So I'm sure I'm not doing a very good job of it, but what you can get is the idea that you can make a very pretty flower with this. Let me try it this way. Yeah, I think that's the way it should be done. And it's, when I've seen some gals out of Indonesia doing a beautiful, beautiful job with this triangle, I think, it really takes a little bit of practice, and you could certainly find it on Instagram. You could find people making flowers. And
so this is the ruby satin triangle. It comes in an extra small and it comes in a medium.
Medium, that's correct.
And really, really great for florals.
And great for florals and people with a little bit more ability than I have.
Someone just typed in Esther Peck.
Esther Peck is extraordinary. She's a wonderful, wonderful artist. We love her, and she does a beautiful job with the ruby satin triangle brush. She really knows how to wield it very, very well. She's very, very talented. Yes, you're right. It is Esther Peck. And then, as I said, we have our cat's tongue in both long and short handle. So here it is in the long handle. You will be able to use it when you stand at an easel. Notice the nice point and edge on that. and hold a lot of color.
Yeah, we're counting on that for Valentine's Day now, that cat's tongue.
Yeah, now we're going to have that also, a cat's tongue in Bristle-On, which is a much heavier body series. And we also have cat's tongue in, that'll be long and short handle. We also have cat's tongue in the Silver Silk 88. That's in stock right now.
Yep, in fact, someone was typing in earlier that they love the cat's tongue in the Silver Silk.
Oh, it's a nice brush. It really is. It's a very nice brush. And again, I'm using fluid acrylic. I think I should have really used a heavier bodied acrylic in this case because of the type of brush I'm using. Ruby Satin is something that's going to hold a lot of color. I could even have experimented with oil paint, and it would do very well with oil color as well. And just so that you get an idea of some of the great things you'll be able to do with that. Okay. So Ruby Satin comes in, as I said, about, I think it's about 55 different sizes, about
And shapes.
about
Shapes and
about
sizes,
16, 17 different shapes in the short handle. In the long handle, it's about 7 or 8 shapes. So you have a lot to play with. You have a lot to choose from in Ruby Satin, and you know, this is something that you'll be able to use for years and years and years. Think of it as investment. You know, if you invested in a certain stock or something and it went up and it kept on going up very slowly, but it kept on maintaining itself, wouldn't you feel that, you know, that was good value to use your money in? Well, that's the way the brushes are. You're never going to really wear it out, unless you just paint on heavy brick or something. But any of the surfaces that I'm using, even the wood that's here, nothing will happen to the Ruby Satin series. Again, it's in long handle and short handle, and I think that we are ready for picking some people to win some sets.
Yeah, I just want to see, there's another question about, they asked about a specific watercolor brush, the Winsor Newton Foundation watercolor. I was wondering if that's an okay media for a beginner.
Okay, that's a different brand than ours, and I actually don't know anything about it.
Okay,
So,
that's fine. But I think in general, you know, watercolor is going to be, you know, something that's going to perform, I mean, you know, in terms of our brushes with the watercolor. We
yes.
really don't particularly favor any one or over the other, because we have ambassadors that use all different kinds of paint that perform well.
oh, I see, in terms of
There's
the,
Kira, everybody. She's been typing and saying hi to you and answering your questions.
Okay, in terms of media, you can use oils, acrylics,
Yep.
and any kind of heavy-bodied acrylics in the Ruby Satin. In terms of watercolors, you want to use silver white, you want to use golden natural, and black velvet, and Renaissance, and as well as silver Kalinsky in the silver brush series. So we have a lot for watercolor. And if you want something that's less expensive for watercolor that works very well, that's our silver white. I believe we did a silver white Facebook, I think last time or last month. So maybe go back and look in the library and look for the silver white series. But we'll be coming back and we'll be doing some of the others over and over again. We might be doing media instead of just one brush series next time. So we can come in and we say, okay, this is for oils, this is for watercolor, this is for acrylics. Ruby Satin's definitely for any kind of acrylics that you happen to have. And it will last, as I said, a lifetime.
Great. All right, so let's pick some winners. I'm going
Okay.
to put this down and I will bring them out here for you. Oh, that's my hand. Hi, everybody. And yes, the people who typed in, that is true. That was Kira coming in to hand me the list of the winners. Where did I put the winning sets? Oh, here we go. Okay, great. All right, so here we are. And we have a short handle set and a long handle set. So the short handle set winner, and I'm going to make sure that that angle is right. It looks kind of weird, doesn't it? It actually is okay. Okay, good. Okay, short handle set winner is
Priyanka Shawali in India. Congratulations,
congratulations.
Priyanka. So many of you are in India and you've asked us, again, AS Mall is our distributor in India. Tarun does a great job. His website is AS Mall. He's constantly updating it. So check out, I forget the other name that he calls it, but it's AS Mall or AS International is his company if you Google him, and we'll make sure we get you that, Priyanka. And then the other winner is in the United States, Shirley Hooper in Florida.
Hi, Shirley.
Long handle set for you. So congratulations to both of you, and thanks everybody. We are going to do this again in a little less than 2 weeks, actually the 15th. So today's a Wednesday. 2 weeks from yesterday, on Tuesday, December 15th, will be our next Facebook Live. That's going to be at this same time, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific in the United States. And we're going to do a medium then. What do you think, watercolor?
Well, we could do watercolor next time.
I think we
if you'd
should.
like
We've had a
us
lot of
to
questions
do
about
that.
watercolor
Sure.
today, so
Sure.
give the people what they want.
Sure.
So let's focus on watercolor on
That's a good
December
idea.
15th. Bring all your watercolor questions, and we'll bring a variety of brushes, all the best for beginners, for experienced. We'll go through all of that for you, and it'll probably take more than 45 minutes, but we'll do the best we can to
Well,
keep it
we'll try and keep
it
it.
efficient for your time.
You know, we understand that your time is very valuable, and we appreciate it very much. And we will try and keep it within 45 minutes. We'll just have little segments of different series.
Great. All right,
Okay.
so we'll see you all in 13 days. Thanks again. We really appreciate all of you. And
Remember
have,
Ruby Satin.
have a great couple of weeks. We'll see you
Take
everybody.
care.
Bye-bye.
Healthy and happy holiday season.